Welcome to Joy News Today with me, Mami Sinyamiche Thompson. In this hour, Ghana Gas Senior Staff Association rejects Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee's report on GENSER gas supply deal, signals dire consequences for the country if the agreement is allowed to go in its current form. More as minority dissociates itself from the report, indicating that it is not a true reflection of their views. Also, a dangerously exposed steel bridge in the Nkwanta South municipality posing threats to the safety of users. We engage local authorities on plans to avert any catastrophe. And in the maiden edition of our Stories of Hope series, we tell you the uplifting story of Johannes and Elijah, who escaped abject poverty in search of a better life in the city, and their undying determination to beat the odds in the face of the biting economic crisis ahead. Has pushed.
I've been doing some investment, so with that I will gather it and do my personal business.
Okay, I still have the hope of becoming a journalist.
So have you put in place plans to reach there?
Well, yes, I would say yes. I've put down plans to get there.
We also have business updates, sports, world news, and showbiz all in this hour. Stay with us. Is this afternoon asking the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime to do a better job in researching the corruption issues at the Commission. A research undertaken by UNODC in 2021 identified the Lands Commission as one of the most corrupt institutions in Ghana. The data showed the top bribe-taking institutions in the country, with the Commission officers collecting the biggest bribes among public officials in Ghana. The study showed that officials at the agency take cash bribes with an average sum of 1,669 Ghana cedis. Executive Secretary of the Commission, James Datson, however, says the people taking the bribes are not staff of the Commission. He spoke to my colleague, Samuel Kujubris.
I want to say that a lot of these things that are going on don't directly involve our staff. They involve people who have made it their business. They go out there, they are in the chief's premises, facilitating sale or purchase of land, and then they will continue and say, oh, I will take it and go and register it for you. So they are all over the place. What we are saying is that the technology that we were embarking upon, we want to ensure that all of these things become a thing of the past. That if for example, the bank can do online search before they grant the mortgage, if the chiefs have the right staff in their secretariat to prepare the land documents and give it to you to come and register, we don't think that these people will be needed.
But if you allow the girl boys to be on your compound, because that's you have your office, you know the people you work with. So if you allow them there, someone who doesn't know your staff will come and deal with them. So that you cannot exonerate yourself completely from what's happening.
Yeah, that is true. Even the infrastructure, the office arrangement that we have today, where we have offices scattered all over the place, if it's an office where there's one gate and there's one entrance, it will be easy to deal with the people who are coming there and they have no business coming to our premises. But we have a situation where the way the offices are scattered, people just come in anytime. And mind you, it's a public office. So sometimes it's difficult to say, hey, you go away or you don't come here. The man can come holding his briefcase or his laptop, and he's saying that I want to come and do a search. I want to come and do this or that. So you don't just drive people away. You must have a reason to drive them away. And these people, they come in there, haven't gone to take documents from other people. Sometimes they will stand outside the premises and they'll be watching. They see that, oh, somebody is coming there. Obviously, the person doesn't even know where he's going. Then they will cash in and say, oh, can I help? And then they go in there, and this is where the trouble begins.
The Ghana Gas Senior Staff Association is rejecting a report from Parliament's Committee on Mines and Energy on a gas supply agreement between Ghana National Petroleum Corporation and GENSER Energy Ghana Limited. The deal involves provision of 50 million standard cubic feet of raw gas daily to GENSER Energy. The association is concerned that the deal's conditions could negatively impact consumers and potentially lead to some losses for Ghana. However, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy has investigated the claims of irregularities by the African Center for Energy Policy and Imani Center for Policy and Education and found no evidence of losses in the deal. Before we hear from the Ghana Gas Senior Staff Association, Samuel Kojo-Brace of our Energy Desk joins us with details of the findings by Parliament's committee. But before that, let's listen to what he said.
Let me put on record that that committee's report does not reflect the views of the entire membership of the committee. Immediately, the chairman put out that report. As ranking member who represents the minority side, I issued a counter report. I issued a statement denouncing the report and stating that the report is inaccurate, contains factual inaccuracies, baseless assumptions, and does not reflect what the committee was supposed to do. And so let me put on record that the minority is not part of that committee's report in terms of its findings. We disagree in its entirety with the assumptions and, more importantly, with the conclusions. The committee was tasked to ensure that we deal with the critical issue of value for money. That has not been addressed. And so please don't associate us with that report. It does not reflect the value for money and that there are huge losses to the state. So this attempt to box us together is most unfortunate. And I've issued a formal statement to that effect. But more importantly, the Speaker has referred this very matter to the Committee of Mines and Energy and the Committee of Finance. We are yet to sit on this whole agreement. I think that will afford Parliament the opportunity to do a much more detailed job and come out with its findings in a fair and transparent manner.
Now, Ghana Senior Staff Association Richmond Alamo on why the deal should not be allowed in its current form. Good afternoon, Mr. Alamo. What are your reasons for asking that the deal should not be allowed in its current form?
Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners. Some time back, I think this issue was raised by our association. But let me state on record first that the Ghana Gas Senior Staff Association, we don't do politics. Our comments are devoid of NDC, MPC, CPP, or any other political party. We are there for the ordinary Ghanaian and Ghanaians as a whole. So any statement of ours should be devoid of political sentiments and emotions. We want the best for Ghanaians. That's why we sent out this press release. So first and foremost, we've seen the Parliamentary Select Committee's report. And we are very disappointed in that report and want to express our sadness into that report that was sent out. Although they are saying it's confidential, I mean, it's in the public domain. I'm sure you have seen the report. First and foremost, that report stated, and if you look at our press, they state that Energy Commission was supposed to be interviewed, and they were interviewed. But when you look at that report, what's the name? The witness statement of Energy Commission on this GENSER issue was absent. Whether GENSER is mandated legally or by law to operate under the conditions that the Parliamentary Select Committee is referring to. The Senior Staff Association of Ghana Gas are not against private partnership or private investment. As an ordinary Ghanaian and as a Ghanaian citizen and concerned citizen, we all like foreign investments into our society or into our economy. But the bottom line of our issue is that your main transmission pipeline cannot be owned by a private entity. GENSER is owned 70% by foreigners. And you can imagine entrusting our main primary asset into the hands of a foreign agency. There are a lot of their consequences and huge disadvantages for we the Ghanaians, or we Ghanaians as a whole. There are more to this issue. If you permit me, I can lay them bare for we all to understand. Thank you.
sake of time, we'll have to leave it here and we'll come back to you in subsequent bulletins. But we have with me here in the studio Samuel Kojo-Brace of our Energy Desk and joins us with details of the findings of Parliament. Samuel, what are the key findings that Parliament made in this research?
Now, Parliament says that GNPC and the GENSER Energy Gas Transmission Agreement is going to save the country $1.462 billion. Because if you had borrowed to do the same project, we would have spent this amount. So that's the savings to us. They're saying that this deal will reduce transmission losses by $480 million once the Ameri plant is relocated to Kumasi and made operational. They're also saying that export of natural gas liquid using the Takoradi port would increase the port revenue from cargo fees, port dues, and other services. They're also saying that this deal is going to help us in reducing carbon dioxide emissions by 15 million tons per year, because the facilities that GENSER is going to use will help us in flaring, reduce flaring of gases, and then we'll bring the gas onshore for processing and utilization. They're also saying that it will lead to the reduction of fuel by 75%, because we are going to substitute compressed natural gas for diesel. They're also saying that GENSER Energy clients have extended the lives of their mines by 10 years since engaging GENSER due to reliable and quality power. They're also saying that restructuring of GENSER Energy pipeline network around future industries would enable these industries to develop quickly. And they're also saying over $400 million export revenue from this deal. So the processing of liquefied natural gas and export per year by GENSER. So this is the money that would accrue to the nation. And they're also saying over $980 million direct investment in Ghana with same amount of forex invested. So that's how much they expect GENSER to inject into the economy. And what about jobs? They are saying there's about some 250 direct and 950 indirect jobs to be created from the business of GENSER Energy Ghana Limited. So that's what the Energy Committee is telling us.
Right. Thank you so much, Kojo-Brace. So moving on, we have founding president of Imani Africa, Franklin. Could you join us on this particular conversation? Mr. Franklin, the committee has responded to the allegations and indicates that the country will rather make profits from this GENSER deal. What is your response to this? Mr. Franklin, thank you for joining us. Yes, I hope you had my question.
Sorry, I didn't know I was on that quick. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. And my question is, the committee has responded to the allegations and indicates that the country rather makes profit from. What is your response?
Well, those assumptions are farcical if they are not outright nonsensical, by the way. I mean, if you look at this carefully, you are telling us, but by the way, you should know this is a one-sided committee report. I'm sure you are aware that the minority has disowned it. The Ghana Gas Company is also disowning it. And so there you are. There are already backers to our line of reasoning and thinking. But just one point, really, probably two. You know, when they claim that the potential transmission losses would be averted because we are going to save about $480 million by relocating America to Kumasi, by the way, I mean, what they fail to grasp, as we've argued quite competently, is that by investing the $70 million in the transmission infrastructure, we could have avoided these so-called losses of $480 million they claim they saved the country. And then also, would have avoided the whopping payment of $1.5 billion in implied subsidy to a private company. You know, what is really annoying and obscene is that whereas the state entities like VRA and CO are purchasing gas at prices that are higher than, the approved prices of about over 6 point something zero MMBTU. This company, without any proper clarification of, the so-called net calculation, because they are using some part of their pipeline, is getting almost 60% subsidy, right? And they are then later selling to the mines and then making a huge huge cut. And to think that we would have saved ourselves if we just invested $70 million rather than claim that we are going to save the country $480 million, that's quite fascinating. You know, my only worry really is that even though Atachia seems to be someone I totally respect, I'm only looking at the decisions he's made as a committee chairman and probably the one-sided committee for a number of years now. For the past 3 years, I mean, his committee was the same one that approved almost a $1.1 billion payment to ACA. When in after fact, it turns out that the ACA deal was sold for just $1. Listeners should underline the word $1, not $10,000, $1. Otherwise, it's the same assumptions that Mr. President's committee are actually one-sided by committee, by the way. It's claiming it has saved the country. If we have to go by that same logic, we would have paid $1.1 billion for something we would have paid just $1 for. It was sold for $1, right? So I'm not too sure we should be taking lessons of cost savings from this one-sided committee, by the way. So look, this report should be shredded and not given any serious attention. It should go back to the committee, for the committee on the whole to deal with it properly. It's a report.
Well, Dr. Franklin, it seems...
Mr. Franklin.
Mr. Franklin, I beg your pardon. It seems we're at a crossroads here where one side is against, the other is for this deal. What then is the next step to ensuring that there is value for money in this deal for the nation?
Well, of course, what it means is that the committee's report as it is now does not exist in the minds of, should I say, reasonable people. It should go back to the committee, and then a proper work is done. I mean, they can start by looking at the work is done, the two think tanks have done. I mean, I think you've probably served the country much more than the one-sided committee really. So they can take the reports and start working backwards to make sure that pays the right price. It's just unfair, really. I mean, to think that they haven't done any proper calculations as to the so-called pipelines that they are using to sell gas to GENSER. While everybody else is buying gas at a particular price, you are getting it at almost 60% reduction, subsidized. And it's not as if free gas is sitting somewhere to be sold cheaply, right? Why do people treat government business as if it is a famous principle, the charges of the common? Because it belongs to nobody, then it means it has to go into disrepair. It cannot be the case. If these were private businesses, they wouldn't be run the way my friend's one-sided committee is thinking right now. It's unfair.
Well, you said they should go back to the committee for further probing, but in your capacity as Imani, are you taking any move, you know, in your capacity as an institution to do anything to better this deal, or better still, cancel it out?
Well, as a beautiful citizen, our work actually ends where we've shown light on the fact that there's not inaccuracies in this so-called. But indeed, we've shown that at least the committee pretended to be serious in the first place. Sorry, the one-sided committee should have pretended to be serious in the first place. That's all we can do. We are not going to go to any court for anybody. We are not making serious judgments. I don't think these are matters of economic value. These are not matters of constitutional law which can be interpreted on the whims of anything. Nobody is going to go court and waste his time in court. So that's what we've done. We've shown light, we've at least brought education to the issue from many working in this space. And so that's what we will do. So it behoves on everybody listening, including your good self, media, to propagate exactly the reasons you've given. You just put side by side the reasons they've given and see whether there's any merit in their reasons, and then look at ours as well as the gas consortium. The Ghana gas people are complaining. You heard them. The minorities complain. They sold the report. Why? What else is expected? So we are not going to go anywhere except to say that this is all we can do. Maybe the presidency would have to do what it is. You know, these days I don't call on the president to do anything. Anytime I call on him, he actually doesn't do it. So probably just sit somewhere and then hope that somebody's heart will change, really. Otherwise, let's just all ask for value for money, right?
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Franklin Cudjoe, President of Imani Africa. Moving on, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Akilakpa Sawyer, has urged Star Ghana Foundation not to rest on its oars, but to continue to renew its commitment towards tackling evolving socioeconomic concerns that plague Ghana's developmental agenda. Professor Sawyer was speaking at the launch of the CSO's 5 years anniversary in Africa.
The foundation was a very specific formation of this idea. in the process. Those of us who were then on the steering committee of the program spent as much time thinking about the foundation idea as delivering on our projects. I recall when the first phase of the program ended, before the second phase started, we spent months of detailed consultations, not just in Accra here, but countrywide, in order to ensure that we're not simply pushing our ideas, but we're giving voice and body to ideas which reflect the reality of our condition and which enable us to speak to authority from our positions as citizens of the country. It is simply to encourage the current leadership of Star Ghana not to accept the program as it is, but constantly to think through making it better, to think through making it fit better into a situation at any particular time.
Meanwhile, the Governing Council Chair of the Foundation, Dr. Esther Ofe-Abaji, noted that the role Star Ghana Foundation plays in Ghana's democracy is much more needed today than before due to prevailing socio-political and economic issues in Ghana and Africa.
In anticipation of our future, we have taken steps to flesh out ideas and develop and share our strategy for promoting active citizenship, articulating how we feel and how we can add to stimulate local philanthropy, and mulling over what we want our thought leadership contribution to look like. For a role for an entity such as Star Ghana Foundation in Ghana, as well as in the sub-region, is required even more urgently now than before. Our pulse on the political, economic, and social developments in the country and West Africa suggests that the alienation of the citizenry from the processes that have been pursued as democracy is a real possibility. Therefore, actions that will amplify the voices of all sections of the population and identify opportunities for inclusive action and broadening platforms for participation and engagement are even more urgently required than before. The specter of violence arising from natural resource-related conflicts, terrorist groups, the erosion of rights of groups of people, political impunity and traverses of justice is looming, and it will not respect boundaries. And therefore, we need to be able to mobilize energies, include young people more effectively, leverage and adapt technology and strategies, and work assiduously with partners of varying shades and with similar intent at the regional, national, and subnational levels.
A dangerously exposed steel bridge linking Nkwanta and adjoining communities in the Nkwanta South municipality is posing a threat to the safety of commuters. The steel bridge caved in 3 years ago when heavy trucks crossing it during a heavy downfall. Now, a directive given by the Roads and Highways Minister Amakwata to have it fixed since February 2020 is yet to see the light of day. Peter Senu visited the area and has more on the following report.
Is it a helpless situation for residents in Nkwanta South municipal capital? Maybe yes. It has been over 3 years since the Roads Minister Amakwata ordered for the caved-in bridge to be fixed immediately sometime in February 2020. Nothing has really been done about it till now. Residents who were on site refused to speak to Joy News because they had complained over the years, but to no avail. Only one man, Adam Ahmed, a driver who could not work due to the nature of the bridge, spoke to Joy News.
Minister Joy News for Murama metimi adia boy. Ya brepa o kwano so too much. E kwano nkasa enye. Me a driver new okwan.
I believe if Joy News gets involved in this, we will have some solution. I am a driver on the road, and the road is not too good. For you to move from here to Kwe and Power, it is not that easy. We are just appealing to the authorities involved to get this bridge fixed for us. Our cars are behind. It is the tricycles that bring the loads and the passengers to us. The collapsing steel bridge has also been hit by flood water a week ago, dangerously exposing the concrete works. Adjoining communities who use the bridge to access Nkwanta Market on Mondays are also cut off.
The economy has been unforgiving for Johannes and Elijah. Abject rural poverty had made it even more unbearable. But the double blow of an economic crisis and rural life had done nothing to weaken their resolve to get a better life in the city. They're taking on the odds stacked up against them and are determined to break the vicious cycle of poverty in their families. In the first of a series of inspirational stories, in the midst of a biting economic crisis, Dab Stories of Hope, I take you on this exciting journey of Johannes and Elijah.
Welcome to Accra. Here, to survive, one needs to be resourceful, resilient, and master all ingenuities to create a space to call home. Meet 27-year-old Johannes. He aspires to make it big in Accra. He lives in this kiosk in the heart of Spintex, the retail hub.
I ended up here after my senior high school education. Then I called my brother that I need to work, and he said I should come. So when I came, he got me a place. I never know people used to sleep in wooden structure. I never see some before.
Johannes' journey from KJB was tarred with hope and expectation. A good job to live his dream. The Volta region of KJB for him had become stale.
I want to be a politician. I want to go and do political science.
Okay.
Yeah. But as times goes on, the dream changed.
To?
Yeah, football. So back in school, I used to play. But I've never had it in my mind because it's my passion, but I never thought of being a footballer. But when I come to Accra, I mean, training with people, going to play football at places, I say, now, things have to change. And I try pushing myself, traveled out of Ghana.
His new estate is crammed with countless wooden structures carved out by dream hopefuls to the pathway of their desired future. And Johannes' home is one out of 140,637 locks to find their feet in the city. The limited access to proper housing forces 8.8 million Ghanaians, 27% of the population.
The rampant burglary experience at the Tema West Municipal Assembly Bachona Basic School is hampering effective teaching and learning. That's according to the chairman of the management committee, Ebenezer Anenya. Now, according to him, thieves make away school materials whenever school is on vacation. He made these known at the school's graduation ceremony in Accra. Joy Learning's Emanuela Abura was there and has filed this report.
The School Management Committee Chairman Ebenezer Anenya of Bachona Basic School has complained that robbers break into the classrooms and offices during vacation and mess up the place. So he is pleading with organizations to come and assist the school.
Yeah, first of all, you can see it when it rains. The whole place is very bad. We are also looking at the government is doing its part, but it's not enough. We need help from organizations. When the chairs are broken in the school, we need help from other places. Mainly it's about finances. We need finances to take care of a whole lot of things in the school. And we have aspiring MP who is here with us, who has already brought us some electric poles, because armed robbers comes in whenever we are on vacations. they break into the offices and then they do their own things. And some of the classrooms, some are not properly gated. Thieves broke into, and sometimes when we come, by the time we come in the morning, the whole place is, I hope you understand what I mean. The whole place is messed up. So a whole lot of things are happening here. Yes. So mainly we need organization to come to our aid. The government, as I said, the government is doing its part. We need organization to also come to our aid. Recently we had a company, a pharmaceutical company, and who came around to also help by painting the whole school, as you can see. So we are looking forward to, and we are appealing to number of companies who come to, as much as companies who will come to our aid to come and help the school.
Now some exciting news. Finally, one of the schools featured in season 2 of Ghana's Schools of Shame has received furniture to cater for over 400 pupils in the Babakpa Primary School in the Nanumba North Municipality. The government donated 100 dwell desks, and a licensed cocoa buying company, Fedco, also donated 100 desks. Joy News Features editor Jojo Kobna reports that the furniture situation in the school has been permanently solved.
What is happening here is not a festival. The people of Bakpaba in the Nanumba North Municipality are excited. For years, the majority of the children here have been without school furniture. They danced their heart out to celebrate the donation of furniture to their school. But that is the end of the story. Let's go to the beginning. The story of Bakpaba Primary started in April 2023. For years, children in Bakpaba kneel, squat, sit, or sometimes lie on their bellies because they had no furniture. Gifty Odanjo, a pupil in class 5, was compelled to come to school earlier than usual in order to get access to furniture. Access to furniture in the school is on a first-come, first-served basis. Majority of pupils improvise by squatting, lying on their bellies, or assuming weird positions on the floor just to get an education. Gifty could not take it anymore. She burst into tears as she narrated the ordeal they endure daily.
As you can see, some of us don't have uniforms. Even me, I don't have any decent uniform. And we sit on the floor to learn. When it rains, we are compelled to sit in this structure. Because of its size, we are beaten by the rain.
You're watching Joy News today. We'll be right back for business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management is making a strong case for government to set up a fund to support enterprises amid the current economic challenges. The institute says this would cushion the operations of these businesses to be more resilient and not lay off workers, as well as reduce the pressure on human resource practitioners. President of the institute, Dr. Edward Kwapong, explained the hike in inflation is taking a toll on human resource, hence affecting employees at large. He spoke to Joy Business at the 2023 conferral ceremony of the institute.
The ceremony was to officially confer charter status and present certificate to deserving graduates who completed the project work of the professional certification program of the institute. Dr. Kwapon called on government to deepen support for some key sectors of the economy.
Management must listen, or government must listen to HR to know what the concerns of employees are. And in the face of all the difficulties, give assurances that when better times come, you'll be able to respond to them positively. Perhaps government may want to set aside a fund to support enterprises that are collapsing as a result of the harsh economic conditions. A fund to kind of, like an insurance kind of arrangement to support employees who may lose their job. Because day in, day out, we hear calls for the closure of certain businesses because they are not making it in terms of profit, in terms of even survival. You know, the bottom line is so low. And so then, yes, we need to. We also need to assure government that in the event of redundancy, we will do our best to negotiate the package so that it will also be a win-win for both sides.
Head of Human Resource at GCB Bank PLC, Nana Kobina Yeboah charged the newly admitted Chartered Human Resource Management practitioners to make HR count in any organization they find themselves.
Before you joined the process, you were doing things around compensation, performance management, all the other things that HR people do. Now you've come here. What difference? How else are you going to? What new ways are you going to explore performance management? What new ways are you going to do compensation? What new ways are you going to do recruitment, selection, all those things? That's what really matters. Now we are all human, and I count myself number one on this list of what I'm about to say. So we all get to a point where we are complacent. It's normal, and you need something to jock you up, okay? So just as you do your New Year resolutions and so on and so forth, ask yourself, and so what have you actually added to what you already know?
This year's conferral service was under the theme, Making HR Certification Count in the World of Work.
Now, consumers of petroleum products may have to brace for another increase in prices by the end of this month. This is based on data from the bulk oil distribution company seen by Joy Business. Here's more in this report.
The data seen by Joy Business shows that the chamber is basing its projection on rising prices of crude oil on the international market, which appears not to be ending anytime soon. The data reveals that rising prices of finished products over the past few have been influenced by serious supply challenges. One can talk about the decision by OPEC to cut production of crude. Again, another data picked up from international oil trading platforms showed that crude oil and gas production from USA is expected to decline next month, and this may also push prices up further. The Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Firms data on the city's outlook also shows some marginal depreciation next month. All these developments could force the oil marketing firms to adjust prices from the 1st of September 2023.
All right, that's all in business. More on the marketplace at the top of the hour. Up next, sports.
Let's do sports now. I want to join you today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, President of the Ghana Football Association. Kurt Okreko says that he's confident the vetting committee of the football governing body ahead of its elections on September 27 will qualify him to have his name on the ballot paper for the Football Association elections. According to him, the questions he was asked were just routine questions, and he's very confident that he will be making it to the next phase.
We've just gone through our vetting. The vetting, obviously, is a statutory requirement and put together by the Elections Committee, which is an independent committee of the FA. And each one of us, obviously, will have to go through. I would say that it was good. There were a lot of questions for my good self. But basically, it's about the statutory provisions on your forms, whether indeed you signed the forms, whether you have met the statutory requirements on the form, i.e. The member who proposed you and the 5 required members who are needed to support your application. And then obviously you have to go through the integrity session, whether you've made your tax returns. So if you don't pay your tax, you are in trouble. And whether you've not made any false declaration whatsoever in relation to this opening. So I think that it was smooth. I'm very confident that given what I shared, I'll go through successfully, and then we'll be ready for the elections. Like I say all the time, football will always speak, and today football has spoken, and football will speak on the 27th of September.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com and also at 2 p.m. when we come your way with sports today. We appreciate your time. Up next is your base.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News Today. Now, it was a time of refreshing moments in the presence of God as musician Kofi Owusu led patrons to offer songs of praise and worship to God. Gospel artists including Diana Hamilton and Akese Brimpong also had their time on stage. Here is what you've missed.
I wish I had an answer. I don't know how I come by them. So it's very clear that I don't sit down to say this is going to be the idea, but I'm always trusting God to grant me ideas, and some way, somehow, He makes a way. He makes a way. But I have a good team too. The band is great, so it makes life easier.
You know, I'm that person. I always want to. I know it's quite awkward, you know, and I know that we all know that Jesus gets the glory, but I always want to emphasize that we are vessels and we are empty without Him. We give Him glory. Whatever you saw there was Jesus doing His own thing, and I want to tell you, looking at me or watching me on Joy Prime, that God can do it through you.
Now, rapper Sarkodie gave patrons a time of their lives at the 6th edition of Shutdown All White Invasion Party in Minnesota. The event, which is part of Sarkodie's Jams Walk Tour, saw the rapper perform hit song after hit song to an excited crowd. Enjoy highlights. To end with this afternoon, Rihanna has given birth to her second child with A$AP Rocky. Sources confirmed to ET Entertainment. Quote, Rihanna and A$AP Rocky will spend the early days of parenthood out of the public's eye and won't make any immediate plans to debut the new baby. On that note, we end Showbiz here on Joy News Today. There's more Showbiz news in our subsequent bulletins. Good afternoon to you, Mami Esi. Hopefully, you'd give us first baby soon.
Hopefully too. I'm praying hard to get a baby soon. And that's it. We wrap up here for Joy News Today. You heard sports and business as well. Thank you for watching. There's more news on myjoyonline.com.